Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Voice is feeling a little bit better. Not back yet, but we should be there by Saturday. And then after I coach this soccer game on Saturday, I'll lose my voice again. But there are a lot of people who are trying to understand why Chris Eubank Sr. is totally against the Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. fight that's taking place this weekend. And we finally have a few answers on why he's taking such a commanding stance against the fight from taking place. Now, I came across an article. I'm just going to share it with you as we skim over the article together. Let me pull this up for you. Right here. Okay. So let me stretch this out a little bit. All right. So now we know that Chris Eubank Sr., the reason he's so adamant about this fight not happening between his son and Conor Benn is because he had a brother named Simon who died in September 2023. His brother, who was a former fighter, he passed away, and he was the younger brother to Chris Eubank Sr. Now, the thing about it, even his nephew, Harlem, which is Simon's son, although he wants to do his uncle proud, even he's against the fight taking place. Now, what brought Harlem and Chris Eubank Sr. together, as it says here in the article, they were united in their grief. And they both agree that the fight taking place this weekend is unnecessarily dangerous and already deadly sport. And I happen to agree. I understand their concerns, and I do think with Eubank Jr. dehydrating himself, 20 pounds south of where he really should be at, that's very dangerous. And I would be concerned if he was fighting natural 160 pounder or something like that. But the fact that Conor Benn is, bubbling up, I think Chris Eubank Sr. will be okay. But you can understand the concern. Anyway, Eubank Jr. talks about here some of his best performances. And it talks about him just being at the 12-stone super middleweight division. Then he tried to bow down to 157, where he was supposed to originally fight Conor Benn. And he looked even I saw the pictures, he looked horrible. You know what I mean? He looked ghoulish. And that's just not something you want to see with a fighter who's about to go into a fight. And don't get me wrong, the contracted weight for this weekend is 160. It's just 3 pounds north of 157, but still. It's not where he should be, and I'm sure he's going to look emaciated this weekend. But here we are now, and Eubank Sr. is 58. He's not concerned about the former welterweight Benn, son of his 2 fights in 1990 rival Nigel, packing on muscle. So obviously, he sees it kind of like we do, where his son is the better fighter, but he's worried about his son's health because of him boiling down again to 160, man. And he just doesn't want him to get hurt like his older brother got hurt. Now, what some people don't realize is that Chris Eubank Sr., right, his brother, let me tell you something. His brother died, right? But he ended up dying from something called frontal lobe dementia. And I actually went and was looking up frontal lobe dementia. And what it is a group of brain diseases that affect personality, behavior, and language. And what I realized as well is people who are diagnosed with, we'll just call it frontal lobe, right? But it's actually frontal temporal dementia, but I just call it frontal dementia. People who are diagnosed with that, they end up living about 2 to 10 years. So it's very unfortunate that Simon Eubank had to go through what he went through. But if you listen to what Harlem says, he's kind of letting you know his father lost his life from the sport, and in the end, he was feeding him with the baby bottle. He said he had to feed his own father, and that was hard on him. But anyway, when you take a look at this, and just knowing what's Chris Eubank Jr. coming down to 160, where he walks around and is very comfortable, and his healthy weight is 180. Even for him to cut down to 168 where he fights is hard on his body. So for him to go down to 160, they're just worried that it's a kind of push that may not be worth the multiples of millions of dollars that he's going to make from fighting Conor Benn. But anyway, they don't want to see him get killed. They don't want to see him get hurt. And this right here is a picture of Chris Eubank Sr. with his two siblings. And this is, of course, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. And they don't want to see him get hurt, man. And here this goes on with Chris Eubank Sr. just saying, hey, look, I would be in my son's corner if he was fighting at the right weight. But it mocks everything I stand for and fought for. I kind of think Chris Eubank Sr. is taking it to the stupid. Man, be in your son's corner. He's a grown man. He can do what the hell he wants. But he says, I'm a dad, I'm a protector, I'm trying to steer him in the right direction. But then again, you're not in his corner, but we all know Eubank Sr. is a little bit quirky. I'm not saying what he's doing is wrong, but his son's 35. So it's not like his son is going out here to smoke crack. He just going out here to take a fight to make multiples of millions. Plus, as a protector, in my opinion, put this energy into redirecting your son from gambling, because having put that energy and that find an adrenaline rush in something else. Because I think it's crazy that he owes over $4 million to this boxing superstar Neymar. Like, that's just wow. But anyway, he says, I'm giving him the truth. I'm his dad. He's chosen not to listen to me. He doesn't understand. This is boxing. You can lose your faculties. Warned him several years ago, when a fighter goes in the ring with dislikes, it's useless. So, bottom line, he doesn't agree with what's going on with Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and the main reason is because he lost his brother as a result of the sport of boxing, and he just doesn't want to see his son take unnecessary damage where he's already at a weight he should not be, and it's just not enough fluid and stuff surrounding the brain, and he can't rehydrate the way he needs to. And all of a sudden he gets in it with whether I think Chris Eubank Jr. is going to win, but Conor Benn is a ferocious fighter. He gets in the ring with this ferocious fighter that can hit him and kill him or hurt him badly. So now we know, in addition to the other reasons, Chris Eubank Sr. doesn't want to see his son fight Conor Benn. He's opening up more and just talking about, look, he's still grieving and struggling with the loss of his sibling to the sport of boxing. And he lost his son. He lost his son out there, as it in Dubai, where they suspect he was training in the ocean and may have had a heart attack, a stroke or something, ended up drowning and dying. And he just doesn't want to deal with losing something happening to Chris Jr. now. All understandable. But you know what? Chris Eubank Jr., I think him taking this fight, I think he would, I think normally, I think he would, if he wasn't in the gambling situation, I don't think he would take it. But because he's a gambler, I really think we need to talk more about his gambling addiction. I really think the gambling addiction is what has him killing himself to 160 and taking this fight with Conor Benn. But that's a whole nother video. Anyway, y'all keep cool. I can't wait to see the fight. I got Chris Eubank Jr., man, out jabbing, out skilling and just out finding a way to win over Conor Benn. Think he clips him within seven at the latest. Anyway, y'all keep cool. About to go and lay down and relax. My damn throat is all messed up, man. And I'm in the breeze.